Let's now walk over to the expansive, futuristic Studio 9 chat room and chat with Cam Gaunce. It's time for Don't Know What You Got Till It's Gaunce. Cam, some fun games tonight. Some interesting things happening. The Maple Leafs have now won 3 straight on the road. Anthony Stolarz, excellent hockey game. Craig Button was on the show yesterday. He said even though the Leafs had won 2 straight at that point, he felt they needed to be sellers at the deadline. 3 straight wins, Cam. Maybe they're buyers?
Let's pump the brakes. I agree with Craig on this one. A game like this from Stolarz gives you that sense of false hope, right? But it's a good and a bad thing. It's great because he played well. It gives you potentially another asset to be a seller at this deadline, and it gets you a win. But it's a bad thing because the Leafs, again, get false hope. He won them this game, and too many times this season, the Leafs have needed Herculean efforts from their goaltenders to get these wins. And it's also giving the team this idea, well, we just beat the Oilers. It's a good thing you got the win. It's a results-based business. But the process in this one was not the process that's going to win them more games. There's a few saves Stolarz made tonight, especially one late in the third period on Draisaitl in his office, that if that doesn't happen, who knows what it's going to be. And he's left out to hang on too many of the goals. And it's something that, yeah, it's wonderful, but it's that false sense of hope that Craig talked about.
We're really here to just extinguish the hopes of Leaf fans, it seems. As for Oiler fans, you said it. It's a disappointing loss. And it was a chance for Edmonton to take over first place in the Pacific. So really disappointing loss. And it's another game of like, Cam, it's like high event hockey. And Edmonton's won a lot of those types of games this year, but do you think it's sustainable long term?
It is not. I'd love to say it was, because as someone who watches a ton of hockey, it's a lot of fun to watch.
Sure.
But there's a reason why the term defense wins championships is coined in every sport. They need to be able to pin games down when they get a lead, or at least keep the other team to a few chances and then let their mistakes be something you pounce on. Too many times, especially against good teams, this is happening. You see Edmonton against Minnesota, you see them against Colorado. They're just getting blown out in those games because if you're not coming up with more goals than the other team, it sounds like, yes, if you have more goals, you win the game. But when you're playing that riverboat hockey, if you're not getting the more goals in those games, it's going to end up in the wrong side of things in the loss column, and you can't expect to win games like that in a 7-game series come the playoff time.
Let's talk about the Ottawa Senators. They had a 4-game win streak going. It was snapped by the Hurricanes on Tuesday night. Craig Button was on this show yesterday talking about the Ottawa Senators. He said, you know what, I think they should buy at the deadline. Would you concur? Do you feel that this team still has a shot at the postseason?
I feel like I'm just copying and pasting Craig here. Because I agree with him. They're playing a sustainable type of hockey. There's that word again. But they play basically the antithesis to what the Oilers are doing. They're playing low-event hockey. Again tonight, they kept their team that they're playing, the Carolina Hurricanes, to around 20 shots. That's Carolina, that's Colorado, that's Vegas, all in that 20-shot range against some of the best teams in the league. So if you're getting team defense like that, if you're getting depth scoring, which they're getting, tonight they had a goal from their 4th line. Their top lines are continuing to score. And if they can get goaltending like they've gotten from Ullmark since he's been back, I don't see why they shouldn't be buyers and have a good run at the playoffs.
Okay, we got to get you and Craig on the show together, see if you disagree on something. Okay. Cam, I've been super excited to talk to you about this. Kind of an interesting development Tuesday night in the National Hockey League. So over the weekend, Rick Tocchet was on a Philadelphia Flyers podcast and pointed out the fact that Matvei Michkov, who struggled this season, did not come into training camp in shape. Flyers fans are upset at Tocchet because Michkov's minutes are down this season, therefore his production's down this season. Well, Daniel Briere, the GM of the Flyers, felt he actually had to meet with the media before Philly's game against Washington on Tuesday night to address the situation.
One thing I can tell you, first of all, is Matvei Michkov is not going anywhere. Let's make that clear, okay? Matvei is going to be here for a long time. He's going to be a good player here for the Flyers, and what he's going through right now is all part of the learning process. The other thing I can tell you, and I talk to Rick Tocchet on a daily basis, he wants Matvei to succeed. He wants to develop him to be the best player he can be. And along the way, there's tough lessons that comes with that. That's like raising a child. There's tough lessons that he's learning.
Now, Michkov played just over 10 minutes in his last game Saturday against the LA Kings, and Here's Rick Tocchet speaking about that on that Flyers podcast.
I have not told him or any of our players, take a guy one-on-one. Come out of the corner with the puck. On a rush, like make a play through rush. He's having a tough time in those situations.
Legs moving into the middle for Zegras. Zegras holds on the left side. Michkov was around behind the net, takes it out the other side. Michkov holds across for Sanheim. Back across ice. Here's Tippett. He scores!
That was Jim Jackson on the call. Michkov gets the secondary assist on Owen Tippett's 19th of the season. Michkov played just under 16 minutes on Tuesday, so the minutes were up on Tuesday night. 1-0 Flyers, 5.5 to go now. Tied at 2, Flyers man advantage. Jamie Drysdale one-timer as Philadelphia snaps their 4-game winless skid. But my question for Cameron Gaunce is, what do you make of this situation? We've seen it with other players and coaches in the past. It seemed like this might not be a great fit when Tocchet was hired in the summer. It seemed like this might be an issue, and Michkov coming to camp out of shape obviously doesn't help things. But do you agree with how Tocchet's handling the situation?
I can't say whether I agree or not fully because you don't know all that's going on behind the scenes.
Right.
I agree with Tocchet in the sense that you need players to play a certain way to be successful. You've seen it with a number of players over the years. You've seen him try to do that with Pettersson when he was in Vancouver. It's something they need to try to get Michkov to do. What it seems like to me is Michkov hasn't learned how to play the game.
Right.
He's clearly an excellent player. He's got tons of skill. But if you admittedly come into camp out of shape, you need to figure out a way to get on the coach's good side. That has to be from your on ice, but also has to be your off ice. NHL is a very ego-based industry. And if you're not going to be scratching the backs of some of the people that are making the decisions and maybe getting on their good side in some fashion, you're going to face the brunt of it.
Right.
If it was me, I'd be telling him to make sure you go in and talk to Tocchet more. Talk to Tocchet. Talk to Tocchet. If you go in and speak with him a bit more, maybe he'll get on his side. Because then if you go talk to him a bit more, you go do something that he told you to try to do, all of a sudden it's like, I showed him to do that. I taught him to do that. Then all of a sudden there could be a bit of that, and you want to talk about the raising the child thing, proud father moment. Like, I showed him to do that, now he's doing it. That was me. Did you see that, media? I told him to do that. And I think he needs to start doing a bit more of that, because tonight, played a good game, their team won. This could be a building block, but he needs to learn how to create a conversation, create a relationship with his coaching staff.
I'm thinking Danny Briere needs to put a call into Gary Roberts, right?
I don't know how long he'd last at Roberts.
Get Gary, 1 month with Gary, and this problem is solved.
It worked for Kessel. Kessel was there, and he had some similar out. Now, I'm not saying he fully corrected it, but Gary did an excellent job with getting Kessel to a point where he won a couple Stanley Cups.
Gary's kind of a miracle worker. I feel like he could work miracles with Matvei. Thanks for this, Cam. This is fun.
Anytime.